Hi, welcome to the marketplace. Coming up this afternoon, government to introduce aggressive measures in 2025 budget to tackle economic challenges.
Want to preempt them here, otherwise you are presenting it before you put it in Parliament. You know, going into the budget, we are going to see more solutions.
Also coming up, we hear from Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Joe Jackson, who is urging government to take drastic action for economic stability post the national dialogue.
Just maybe it will give added impetus to that, whatever political will there is to do it, because you can see the chaos staring at you in the face if you don't take action.
Also ahead, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Esiama forecasts single-digit inflation sooner than expected.
We are sure that we will see a return to the disinflation path. We plan to hold the next monetary policy meeting next month.
My name is Darryl Kwao. Details of these stories and others coming up. Stay tuned. Well, thanks for staying with us, everyone. Today marks the final day of the National Economic Dialogue organized by the government to address the country's economic challenges. Various stakeholders have been discussing critical issues with the goal of resetting the economy as indicated by the government. Let's now go live to the Accra International Conference Center where my colleague George Affe is standing by. What's been happening there, George?
Darryl, in terms of what's happening here, what I can say is that basically most of them are done with more of the private, or let's call it the breakout sessions. They are done with more of the internal engagement with most of these private companies, individuals, the economists in the various sessions. And if a little bit of going details, Darryl, they are having their lunch right now as we speak, and very soon they will come into the main conference room where they will deliberate on some of these things that have happened in these breakout sessions. And there are what many people will be looking out to as that communique that will be released at the end of this engagement somewhere around 4. But Darryl, the interesting thing is that I have with me here the Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industries, and Madam Siawadi. Madam, thank you so much for it. I hope I got the designation right.
Yes, right.
In terms of resetting the economy, in terms of the concerns that have been highlighted yesterday and the challenges facing the economy, trade, export is going to play a critical role. What is the ministry doing, or what steps are you taking to complement the efforts by the finance minister in dealing with these challenges that the trade sector is supposed to do to help in fast-tracking the recovery of the Ghanaian economy?
Thank you very much. Yesterday, the finance minister painted the picture of the state of our economy to us. And we all know what we have inherited as a government and as a country. And we know that trade, agribusiness and industry is going to play a key role in restoring our economy. We are here at the National economic dialogue, to listen to stakeholders, to listen to what their concerns are, what their take in terms of building the economy, and what we can do as a government to also help them. I had the opportunity of sitting through yesterday and today. I decided to hear firsthand from them, and they've given some interesting suggestions. They have mentioned their problems to us, most of which are known, and they have given interesting suggestions, this time out of the box suggestion, novel, and we think that if we incorporate it into what we are doing as a government, it will go a long way into helping us restore our ailing economy. And so today, I'm here to listen to all of them, and I'll do my take. My take will be what I take home to implement as a Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, together with all my colleagues in cabinet, with the President who opened the forum, in fact, who is the host of this dialogue. Together, we will take the concerns, the solutions, the recommendation on board to ensuring that we get a robust economy. One of the interesting things that I heard from the breakout section was when one bank manager suggested to me that banks keep money at the Bank of Ghana, which does not attract any interest. And so if we could have a discussion so that where government wants to pay attention, for example, our Feed the Industry program, where they can give soft loans to practitioners along the agribusiness value chain, where we are paying more attention, like our grain, our cassavas, and then it could be good. And so this and many more that I'll be sharing when I take my turn on the stage. I think that these are the things that I'll add to what we have already as a government to ensuring that we all build the Ghana we want. In spite of the gloomy picture, I'm also excited that Excellency John Dramani Mahama has said that he's the President of the Republic of Ghana. He's not lamenting. He's ready and willing to change the economy, to change our fortunes, to ensure that we all build the Ghana we want. He said also that he cannot do this alone. He needs Ghana to back him to change the economy, to get to where we deserve and we really want. And so,
before I let you go, Madam, another thing that I want to get your thoughts is about what is in for the manufacturing sector and industries in terms of the budget. They've been asking for a lot of release, tax release, and even especially assisting the local tax or textiles manufacturing sector as well. In terms of the budget, what should we expect for the industrial and manufacturing sector?
Well, what we expect in the budget is what the finance minister can give, looking at the numbers and looking at what he has shown us. Now, this is not when you don't know your father's salary and you are asking for a rush to school, whereas your father is earning 2,500. We actually know the state of the economy. But I'm sure that the finance minister, like the government of the NDC, will create the enabling environment for businesses to thrive. You know, apart from the incentives that we will get, which I'm sure it won't be a budget that doesn't give any small incentive. But what I can say is that it's not only about those incentives only. It's also about what industry needs, which is the supply of raw materials locally. Industry is importing about 90% of its raw materials, and this is not helping them to be competitive. So I'm sure with our Feed the Industry project, where we are going to help people do commercial contract farming to feed the industry and also try and have some of these raw materials produced in Ghana, like grey baft, like alumina. These are the things that we are looking at, and these are the major problems facing industry. And so I think that apart from what the finance minister will give as incentive, we also have things that we are doing to help industry grow, because we are interested in reducing our imports and increasing our export as a country so that our city will be strong and our economy will be resilient.
I appreciate your time so much. So, Darrell, the interesting thing is that Madam Ajari would actually be participating in one of the panel discussions here. It is more structured like the World Economic Forum, where we have some ministers here deliberating on some of the issues that basically will be coming up during the engagement here, Darrell, in terms of what can be done to deal with the current challenges facing the economy. But Darrell, I don't know whether there are still any other pressing issues, but if not, I could say that over to you, not Joe Latte, but Darrell Carl in studios.
Keith, you're reporting from the Accra International Conference Center. We'll head back there during that discussion. He mentions that will be part of the closing ceremony for the National Economic Dialogue. Stay tuned. We have more. In a bid to tackle mounting economic challenges, the government is set to introduce a series of aggressive measures in the 2025 budget. This follows alarming revelations that the nation's economic crisis is more severe than initially anticipated, with several state-owned enterprises now burdened with substantial debts. Seth Tekpe, economic advisor to President John Mahama, has weighed in on the significance of the National Economic Dialogue, defending its importance despite previous criticisms.
Now we've told the story about the challenge or the situation that we've inherited. What should be the way forward in getting everybody to the table? And some will say that just like self-government now, self-government later, let's move, get to work, and the correction happening.
You'll appreciate from both His Excellency and from the Minister, and his topic was quite clear, the state of the economy. And you will see that a substantial part of the SONA also dwelt on the state of the economy. He preferred some solutions, for example, the ability to get a TSA back and to make government liquid and be able to pay some debt as well as bringing down treasury bill rates, which hopefully will then affect the market rates and others. That is solution oriented. But you see, the history of it is in the treasury single account, where you look at government accounts in various banks carefully and not allow that same money to be used to buy T-bills, right? So if you manage it well, then you are not going to the market to be oversubscribing, the T-bills. And that means that you are improving the demand situation, because government is demanding, it's on the demand side and others are on the supply side. So if government boosts its own reserves, then it means that, there's a bit of a squeeze on the, on the supply side. Okay, and he's demonstrated how that is the outcome. That is one example of what can be done. Now, I also like to draw your attention to the fact that the treasury single account and the sinking fund, which were used in most of these examples, are not necessarily new. It's a matter of improving on their implementation, because they were implemented in the first homegrown policy. So the two presentations SONA to this point is saying, these are the problems. We are not here, as the President said, to lament. I'm here to propose solutions, as he's promised. Now, therefore, without reading the budget, where there will be many solutions, including those that Parliament should pass, for which reason you don't want to preempt them here. Otherwise, you are presenting it before you put it in Parliament. Going into the budget, we are going to see more solutions.
So I get from you that
not necessarily new.
The budget will come up with more extra solutions in containing the challenge.
Yes, it will have to come. And the second reason for being here is that the breakout sessions in particular have heard the problems, right? They are also feeling the effects of the problems, right? And some of them are like the private sector, are the victims or beneficiaries of, say, interest rates and other things. So from their perspective, for this occasion, what do you make of the solutions? Because you have experts around, you have practitioners around, you have so many, a diverse group of Ghanaians are here, many of them experience. So it is to also take recommendations, as was done in Senchi. If you remember, our President referred to Senchi, to now use it to complement what government's list of solutions are, right? And say we have a buy-in, right? Some of the groups are discussing past solutions and.
What if you don't get a buy-in? Because and I've asked you this question before, and I'll ask it again. we went to the polls. Majority of Ghanaians gave you the mandate to govern based on what you promised them. Some are saying that, is this engagement even really necessary? Because what if at the end of the day, what they propose doesn't sink in line with what you promised the public based on that they gave you the mandate to govern?
You don't expect everybody to agree with you, one. Two, you don't expect everyone, to give you, solutions. But we do expect some solutions to come out, right? We do expect some solutions to come out.
And solutions would be used.
They will be considered.
Consideration is more of a softer part on it than...
Like Senchi, we ended up using a lot of the recommendations that came. Because remember, you are seeing people here who have run the economy before, right? On the left and on the right. You have seen people here, some of them chairing, who have worked in other countries by virtue of their being in multilateral institutions. They are Ghanaians. If they did a keynote, and which includes some proposals, not the keynote, the introductory by Dr. K.Y. Mwako. You could see that he's somebody who has a global experience. So his recommendations, for example, some of which cannot be lightly ignored because he's giving you examples of where they worked, right? Clearly. So you'll be minded, definitely, to look at it. You'll be minded to go back and say, okay, KY, he said so and so, or assets.
The president's advice on the economy, Setekwe, speaking with my colleague, Georgia. If you're watching The Marketplace, we're taking a short break. When we come back, the exclusive interview the governor of the Bank of Ghana granted Bloomberg, talking about the country's single-digit inflation target. We've got that story coming up after this break. And that was your look at the international summaries. The Trump tariffs causing a bit of distortion on the markets, as you read just there. Welcome back to The Marketplace. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Siama, has announced that the country could achieve a single-digit inflation target sooner than expected. This comes after the bank revised its inflation forecast, now projecting it could reach by mid-2026 rather than the initial target of the first quarter. In an interview with Bloomberg News, Dr. Siama emphasized that the success of the revised timeline will rely on the current economic conditions remaining favorable.
From the last reading of inflation we have, it is still relatively high, but we think that the downward trend that we started seeing since last year or so is well on course. The last reading came in a little bit, higher. But we think that going forward, if you look at the causes, of the pressures, the inflationary pressures, it was mainly from, food inflation. It was mainly structural in nature. And so therefore, the coming budget statement, which is about to be presented on the 10th of March, should be presenting a number of measures that can contain food inflation. If that is done, we are sure that we will see a return to the disinflation path. We plan to hold the next monetary policy meeting next month, where we will reassess the conditions and take an appropriate decision. And therefore, once we have the appropriate monetary policy stance in place, and then also food price inflation is well controlled, we will begin to see inflation trending back to its target path.
All right, now time for the exchange, and it's from the National Economic Dialogue. Now, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Chancellor Tuforsen, has indicated at the opening of the dialogue that Ghana is grappling with serious fiscal challenges, stressing the need for urgent and decisive action. Well, Joe Jackson is Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, and he argues that the government may no longer have an excuse for not implementing drastic measures to stabilize the economy. My colleague George Affe started by asking if he was surprised about what the finance minister said about the state of the economy.
I wasn't surprised. To say I was surprised is not fair, because some of us have been saying this even before the ministers, all through last year. We kept insisting the cocoa sector, the energy sector, the agric, unemployment, and we could go on and on and on. It was not so much that I was surprised as I was sad. Sad because there's no benefit to being right when it's about the nation, right? And having it put together in such stark terms with now, not just what we are extrapolating, but with the raw, hard data. It was a tough time because it set the tone as to how really difficult this reset is going to be.
So for you, do you think that this challenge is surmountable? Because one of the biggest elephant in the room will be the political will.
To do what has to be done.
Because some will see that we all know the problems. We all know how to get around this. Do they have the political will? Or do you think that we've seen those signs of political will to deal with this challenge?
There's another factor, which is that just maybe now we don't have a choice. That our choice is between chaos and doing it. Right? That where the political will may seem to slip, when you look at the sum and the total of where we are, just maybe it will give added impetus to that, whatever political will there is to do it, because you can see the chaos staring at you in the face if you don't take action.
And you think that they don't have a choice?
Well, we also have a choice. We can always feather our own pockets and damn the consequences. But posterity won't forgive us. You see, in truth, posterity won't forgive this current regime if after telling us all this, they don't do anything about it.
And that's what some will say, that are we forming the basis for an excuse not to perform? Because some are saying that as far back as November, as far back October, these things were being talked about. So one is like, why do we reset these complaints? And if I can use the words in a soft words, lamentations. go ahead and tell us that these are the solutions to deal with the problems.
But this is about the solutions. The solutions are hard choices. The solutions are that we can't take away any tax and sit where we are. That whether we like it or not, some revenue growth measures have to take place. Would they be pleasant? No. This is for all of us to understand what has to take place and why it has to take place. And for us to be given a voice in saying that I prefer the injection on my butt, or I prefer it on my upper arm. But you still have to take the injection. You don't have a choice.
Finally, on revenue, what should be the strategy? The minister has spoken about the challenge, the gap. There are concerns about the current challenges facing the economy and whether there's even space for businesses to do well to meet their tax obligations. What should be the way forward on dealing with the tax challenge and the revenue challenge?
Number one, simplification.
Chief Executive of Delex Finance, Joe Jackson, ending the marketplace. More news on our website, myjournalline.com/business. More from the National Economic Dialogue. Public spending must be reformed to avoid economic collapse, the finance minister says. Plus, I will be extremely shocked if government decides to introduce new taxes. Economist Professor Sumim there. myjournalline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. We will be back same time tomorrow.